We're here with the legendary Sheryl Swoopes. Is that right?
Say it again.
Sheryl Swoopes.
There, that's
that
better.
good?
I heard a little shh.
A little shh
the first
in there.
time.
I might have added a CH
It works.
in there.
Or you can say swoops. So it works.
I'm excited. I told you right before the interview. We've interviewed probably, I don't know, 200 athletes. But you were the first WNBA. But I'm assuming this is probably standard for your career, being the first at a lot of
You know
things.
what? Like, you don't get off that easy. You're like, I'm assuming this is standard, but no, like, first of all, 200 athletes is amazing.
Yeah.
I think I gave you a little hard time at first saying, why am I the first WNBA athlete? But I'll take that.
Yeah.
So I have a standard, and I gotta set the bar kind of high. But I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no, we're when I got the list of all the athletes that would be here, I was super excited to have you for what it represents. And I want to talk a little bit about what was it like. I mean, obviously, when WNBA was coming through, there's a big difference between, especially from a mother standpoint, you have men who have children in NBA, but then I was reading the stats, and you had your first baby, your first year of that, and it's something that men never even have to consider going through. Talk to us about what is that like having that high level of career like that, and then having a baby in the first season.
So I'll say this: you are the first male to ask me this question.
Really?
Like, I've gotten this question from a lot of other like interviews, but they're all female.
Okay.
So the fact that you're asking me this question, honestly, says to me that our game is growing and people are paying attention. So I appreciate that. But when you talk about being a professional athlete, men versus women, to your point, and I say this all the time, men don't have to worry about getting pregnant, taking time off, how's that going to affect my body, how do I come back from that?
Right.
And being a female athlete, those are things that you're constantly thinking about. I know for me, being the first, right, in the WNBA to get pregnant, take time off, like, there was no one I could turn to and talk to and say, like, how does this work?
Right.
It was kind of like trial by error. And my son's 25 now, so I think I did a pretty good job. But it's challenging. Not only does it take a toll on your body physically, but emotionally and mentally. And for me as a mom, like, I went through this whole thing of guilt, right? Of leaving my son because I got to go to practice, I got to travel, I got to play. But I'm also not going to sit here and make it all sound like it was bad, because the best thing I got out of it was having my son around so many incredibly strong women. He grew up around, so he actually, I believe, has a completely different perspective and respect for women in general, because he grew up around so many women, and he was able to see that, you know, women, we hold it down too.
For sure you hold it down. Let me ask you, what would you say to maybe some young women? A lot of the people that listen to the show are, obviously they enjoy sports, but a lot of them are business owners, entrepreneurs. What would you say to, because women in business face the same thing, right? They grow through their corporate career, they can become CFO or CEOs, but they always have in the back of their mind getting pregnant and the guilt. You mentioned the word guilt. I've interviewed a lot of women and they talked about that. What would you say to a woman that was coming up through the ranks of how to balance being successful in a career and then not the guilt that men don't have to necessarily go through?
Yeah. You know, for me, a big part of it was surrounding myself with like-minded people. And that wasn't just necessarily family, like friends, some of my teammates, and knowing that those people are people who want to see you be successful. And I say all the time that it wasn't just me doing it by myself. My mom was a huge part of my career. And the one thing that I want every woman out there to understand is you too can do it, right? Like, yeah, we go through all of this in our minds, like, I have to take time off, I got to make a sacrifice. But, you know, for me, it was big for me to not have to do that and say, I got to focus more time on being a mom versus focus more time on my career. And you have to find that right balance. But the number one thing for me was always about my son, making sure that he is okay, he has everything that he needs. And because of that, that did allow me to go back to work and understanding that I had the right people around me that were going to be able to help me have a successful career.
I like it. When if we can can we back up a little bit before we, meaning we as in all the followers, knew of Sheryl? What was it like growing up, Sheryl? Was it more in a poor family, middle class, wealthy? What was it like growing up, Sheryl?
Oh no, I grew up in West Texas. It was my mom and my 3 brothers. So I grew up in a single parent home, and it's interesting because I never really used the terminology of I grew up poor.
Right.
Because it was all I had. It was all I knew.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
so
right.
if that's what you have and that's what you know,
no different.
I was wealthy in my mind.
Yeah,
right.
Love that.
But it was just really always important for me that I always made my mom proud. Right. I knew what she wanted for myself and my 2 older brothers, and no matter what came my way, good, bad, everything in between, I wanted to stay the course. Like I grew up at a young age. I started playing ball when I was 7.
Right.
And I knew the only way I was going to be able to go to college was to get an academic scholarship or an athletic scholarship.
Right.
And we went more the athletic route than academically. But that was important to me because at a young age I saw the struggles my mom went through, and I also saw how hard she worked to give us the things that we needed, not what we wanted. And people sometimes don't understand the difference. And I said then that I wanted to put myself in a place where I could change my mom's life, and to be able to do that through just a simple basketball. Like it's a simple basketball. But it completely changed my life. It changed my mom's life. It changed people around me. And I will forever be indebted to the game of basketball.
Yeah. Would your mom be one of your all-time heroes? Would you put her on that list? Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. My mom passed away 5 years ago to colon cancer. And the best thing, so when I got inducted into the Hall of Fame, the doctor told my mom she wouldn't be able to go.
Wow.
And she was like, watch me.
Yeah.
And I always knew how strong and powerful my mom was.
Wow.
But it was in that moment that I realized that's exactly where I get my strength
where you get it from.
And my stubbornness.
Yeah.
Because she probably shouldn't have gone, but she was like, oh no, I'm going to go watch my baby get inducted into the Hall of Fame.
And did it. Wow.
Yeah. For sure, my biggest hero.
It's got to be where you get your will, your drive, your desire to succeed. It has to come from her. It's very passionate to hear you talk about it.
Well, and I grew up in West Texas, a very small town, and didn't really know my dad, but it never affected me. Never affected my life because my mom made sure, she was my mom and my dad.
Yeah, she played both roles.
And that's why for me, being where I am now and the journey that I took to get here, people always have excuses why they can't do something.
Right.
And I just never really fell into that.
Yeah.
To me, it doesn't matter if you have one parent, if you have 2 parents, if you have gay parents, right? It's all about perspective, and it's all about who you are and what's important to you and what you want to do with your life. Those are the things that my mom taught me, and
love it.
Those are things that I try to pass on today.
I love that. If I can, final 2 questions here. One is there any funny story that you can think of where you had 2 older brothers?
Not that I'm going to tell you.
And you just absolutely destroyed them in a sport?
Gosh.
Did they play sports as well?
They did. My brothers were mean to me though. I did everything.
Right.
I tackled football.
Yeah.
We were really big into frisbee. That's what we played.
Okay.
But my brothers, they always did things to set me up.
Yeah,
right?
okay,
I grew up in the country, and they would throw the frisbee, and they would say, go get it.
Yeah.
And first, my oldest brother would throw it, so my other brother would catch it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It was an easy throw, easy
Yeah.
catch. But when it was my turn, he threw it so hard.
As far as he could.
Oh, yeah. And then there was this big sticker patch. I don't know if people know about sticker patches. But he was like, you can get it. So I'm diving into the sticker patch.
Sure.
But I caught it.
Yeah.
I came up, had stickers everywhere, but my brothers also were a huge part of my success.
Yeah.
Just telling me that no matter what it is, you can get it done, and it's not going to always be easy, but I always say if it was easy, everybody would do it.
I love that. Last question. We always ask everybody if the sign right here, we have on the IME show, we have the sign and with Sheryl Swoopes.
Oh, that's pretty dope.
And with I Am Me, it's a thumbprint because there's only one of you.
Yeah.
And I ask all the athletes, when it's all said and done, life is all over, what would be one word you would want people to remember Sheryl by?
Ooh.
A little deep for you. I'm gonna write it on this blank right here. What's one word you'd want them to remember you by?
Real.
Sheryl was real. Why'd you say that word right there?
Why did I say that?
Why'd you choose that word?
Because, like, I'm a very genuine person, and no matter what it is that you come to me with, I'm always going to be real. I'm always going to keep it real, whether it's something you want to hear or not. That's kind of how I grew up. Yeah. I don't believe in just telling you what you want to hear. I'm always going to keep it real, no matter. Yeah.
I like that. That's a very, very good word. Sheryl, I appreciate the interview.
You're very welcome.
First ever WNBA interview.
First, but it won't be the last.
I want to be the last. Thank you so much, Sheryl.
You're welcome. Thank you.